So I hopped on a non-stop flight to Nepal, because that's where Mount Everest is, and then I hired a Sherpa to take me up to the top of the mountain. But about halfway up Mount Everest, my Sherpa died, so I had to make the rest of the hike on my own. But when I got to the top of Mount Everest, I saw a bald eagle's nest, and I thought, wow, this is going to be easy. So I grabbed one of the eggs, and then all of a sudden this eagle swooped down and punched me right in the face. Like, he punched me. Like, he didn't scratch me. He balled up his talons and punched me in the face. So I started throwing haymakers. I started punching him in his face. And then the eagle held me down and started pecking at my eyes, and then he threw me off the top of Mount Everest, and I fell all the way back down to the bottom. But I still had the egg in my hand, so I got that. So then I hopped on another non-stop flight to Guam, and then from there I took a submarine out into the bottom of the Marianas Trench, and I saw a family of octopi. So then I wrote free candy on the side of my submarine, because even octopus kids can't resist free candy. So then when they came up, I kidnapped the baby octopuses, and the octopus mom and dad, they were so upset, they were screaming an octopus. I mean, I don't speak octopus, but they seemed very upset. So from there, I hopped on another non-stop flight over to Italy, and I went over to Papa John's house so he could cook me up a pizza. So he answered the door and he called me a racial slur, because I guess that's just how he says hello. So then he cooked up the pizza with the octopi on it, and then he called the pizza a racial slur, and then he called me a racial slur. So from there, I hopped on another non-stop flight to North Africa, which is where the Sahara Desert is, and then I rented a camel and then wandered out into the middle of the Sahara Desert, and then my camel died of dehydration, so I lost the deposit on the camel. So I just kind of wandered around the Sahara Desert for a while, you know, I was dehydrated, so I was hallucinating, and I was starting to see things, and I saw a mirage, or I thought it was a mirage, but it turned out it was an actual blue cactus. So I took it, and then I blacked out from dehydration. So then I woke up in a pyramid hospital, and I said, well, thank you for saving my life, and then I hopped on another non-stop flight to India. I got a lot of frequent flyer miles on this trip. So then when I got to India, I saw a bunch of people gathered around worshipping a cow, and then I said, hey, I gotta take this cow to the vet, because I think he has mad cow disease. But really, I just took it out back, and I shot it, and I butchered it for the meat, and then I came out with 2 Big Macs. So from there, I hopped on another non-stop flight over to NASA, and then I had them send me on a rocket to Tatooine. But then when I got to Tatooine, I got robbed by some Jawas, and they were all like, Houdini! And then when I was in Mos Eisley, I found the McDonald's there. So I went through the drive-thru, and they were like, Houdini! And then I ordered that blue milk you wanted, and they gave it to me, and they said, Houdini! And so after I came out of the drive-thru, I saw they actually have a Chick-fil-A on Tatooine too, and it's open on Sundays because the days don't work the same there. So I went through the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, and they went, Houdini! And I got that chicken. So then from there, I hopped on a rocket, and I went back to my house, and then I went into my pantry, and it turns out I actually already had a 2-month-old expired can of Chef Boyardee ravioli, and I had some Pop-Tarts, so I just took the crust off those. So yeah, you should be grateful that I brought all this food to you. So bon appetit, dig in, eat the cactus. I want to see how that works.
I'm not hungry anymore.
Damn it! You pulled a Lawrence Russell Brewer on me! There was another guy who ordered a bunch of food, and then when we brought it, he said he didn't even want it. Damn it! I knew you were gonna do this! I was halfway up Mount Everest, and I said, I bet— Okay, so when I was in high school, I was in a bowling league, right? And I was the best bowler. I mean, I was a god of bowling. I was bowling nothing but strikes, all the girls were going goo-goo gaga over me, it was awesome. But then, here comes Billy Bowling Hands. See, he lost both his hands in a train accident when he was younger and got them replaced with bowling balls. Now, at first, I thought, well, that's stupid. I mean, how is he gonna, like, eat and drive and stuff? But no, it turns out that actually made him extremely good at bowling, because all he had to do was throw his body down the lane and ride his bowling ball hands into the pins. So I was thinking, that can't be legal. He can't be allowed to do that. So then I look it up into the rule book, and yes, you can do that as long as your hands are bowling balls. So then he becomes the best bowler in the school. He's winning tournament after tournament, trophy after trophy, he's bowling strike after strike. All the girls are leaving me and they're going to him because he's also jacked, because bowling balls are really heavy. They're like 25 pounds each. So I just decided to quit bowling, because I can't compete with Billy Bowling Hands. So then I decided to take up boxing. You know, that seems pretty manly, I can do that. But then, he starts boxing too, and after one round, he punches all my teeth out with his bowling ball hands. That's why I don't have teeth anymore. And I'm like, that can't be allowed. He has bowling balls for hands. His hands don't even fit inside the gloves. So I quit that, and then I start doing everything else. And everything I join, he joins too. All the things you'd think you wouldn't be able to do with bowling ball hands, he did. Like Billy Bowling volleyball hands, and Billy Bowling basketball hands, and Billy Bowling badminton hands, and Billy Bowling Future Farmers of America hands. Everything. Everything I joined, he joined and did it better with his bowling ball hands. So then I decided to join the swim team, and then he joined the swim team, and I challenged him to a swimming competition. And he drowned, because his big bowling ball hands weighed him down to the bottom of the pool, and nobody could get him out. So I'm thinking, great, I'm finally rid of Billy Bowling Hands, he's dead. But no, they decided to name the entire school after him. Billy Bowling Hands Memorial High School, and they even named the bowling alley after him. Billy Bowling Hands Memorial Bowling Alley Bar and Grill. And then all the girls around the school were crying because Billy Bowling Hands was dead, and they were mad at me because they thought I was the reason he died. And I'm like, it's not my fault, it's him and his stupid bowling hands. But bowling ball hands, you get it. But ever since then, I swore that I would never bowl again, until today. And boy, was that a mistake, because I lost everything.
Oh, man.
So I got stung by a jellyfish last summer. Yeah, I remember it just like it was this summer, but it was last summer. I was at the beach with my wife Karen, and she was sunbathing, and all the lifeguards thought she was a beached whale, so they wanted to blow her up, because that's what they do to beached whales. And I was like, no, that's not a beached whale, that's just my wife. And I was making this sandcastle, and oh, it was the coolest sandcastle ever, you should have seen it. And then out of nowhere, this huge wave comes and just wipes out my sandcastle. So I'm like, bitch-ass ocean? So I run into the water and I start throwing haymakers, trying to teach that ocean a lesson. But then the problem is I can't really swim too good, and I get caught in a rip current, so I get sucked out to sea, and the lifeguard sees me, but he can't swim either. I mean, what a terrible lifeguard. What kind of lifeguard can't swim? So I'm just out there drowning, and I think I'm gonna die, so I'm looking for any way I can to save myself. And then I see this jellyfish. So I'm thinking, oh, I can just grab onto this jellyfish and ride him to shore. So I grab onto the jellyfish's tentacles, and he starts stinging the shit out of my hands. So I'm like, bitch-ass jellyfish, and I start throwing haymakers. And every time I hit the jellyfish, he's just stinging me more and more. And I'm in so much pain, I'm getting stung by a jellyfish, and I'm still drowning. I'm like 5 feet underwater by this point. And then I see a scuba diver, and he sees me, and he puts his oxygen mask on me so I can breathe, and he takes me back to shore, and I thank him. And as I'm walking up the beach, I step on a seashell, and I'm like, bitch-ass seashell, so I start throwing haymakers. And then every time I hit the sand, it's just hurting my hands more and more, and I'm realizing it's because that jellyfish stung me. So then I go back into the ocean to find that bitch-ass jellyfish. And then I go out there, and the jellyfish pulls up in a box Chevy with all his buddies, and they start kicking my ass. And they're stinging me all over the place, and one of them gave me a wet willy sting right in the ear. That hurt like hell. So then I get stung up, and it's just a whole big problem. And then finally I'm done at the beach, and my wife won't even take me to McDonald's afterwards. Or a rock. Oh yeah, so this one time I was an ant, and we were collecting food for the colony because we were afraid of these grasshoppers, and we were giving them our food so they didn't eat us, so we were collecting all the food on this big leaf, and I had like this contraption on my back, and I accidentally dropped it and knocked over a rock, and then all the food went over this cliff, and then the grasshoppers got there, and boy were they mad, because they were like, where's our food? And we were like, well, we had it, but it's gone now. So then they gave us another day to get their food, and then they got eaten by a bird, and hold on, no, this didn't happen to me. This is the plot of a Bug's Life. See, I'm doing that thing I do sometimes where I get my life confused with movies I've seen. I'm sorry, I remember what happened now. Yeah, so me and my wife, right, we were old, and we were living in our dream home, and it was beautiful, but then she died, and it was very, very sad, and I wanted to see this waterfall for some reason, so I tied a bunch of balloons to the roof of my house, because I wanted to bring my house with me, and then there was this Boy Scout in the house, and then there was a talking dog. Wait, no, damn it, this is the movie Up. I'm describing the movie Up. That didn't happen to me either. I'm sorry, hold on. I got it now, I remember. So, I was a little kid, and I was laying in bed, and I was afraid of the dark, right? And then all of a sudden my closet opens, and this big fuzzy monster named Sully comes out, and I call him Kitty, because I'm just a little kid, and I think he's a kitty. And then him and his friend Mike Wazowski help hide me on the scare floor from this creepy salamander guy named Randall, because he did not like me. He was trying to suck my screams out, because, you know, screams is what powered their world. And, wait, damn it, no, this is the plot of Monsters, Inc. I'm sorry, I got it. So I was in college, and I was trying to become the top scare... Damn, this is Monsters, Inc. University. I'm sorry. I got it. I have to pee. That's what it is. I'm very distracted. Hold on, let me pee, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back from the bathroom, I peed, I remember what happened now, I got the story. Okay, so I was a race car driver, right? And I came into a three-way tie with these two other racers, and then we decided that we're gonna have a tiebreaker race in California. So then on the way there, my truck falls asleep, and then I wake up in the middle of the desert, and then I meet Larry the cable guy as a tow truck. No, this is Cars. This is the plot of Cars. I'm sorry, I got it this time, I remember, that reminded me. 18-hour open heart surgery, and it's taken forever. I'm getting tired, I'm getting hungry, so eventually I tell the patient and the nurses, hey, I'm gonna go get lunch real quick, I'll be right back. So I go out into the waiting room when we have the vending machines. We have one of those nice vending machines, the new ones that takes credit cards, so it doesn't even matter if you don't have cash. So then I see they have Cheez-Its in the vending machine, and you know I'm gonna get Cheez-Its because I love Cheez-Its. So I swipe my card, get a bag of Cheez-Its. I swipe my card again, I get a second bag of Cheez-Its. And I'm thinking, 2 bags of Cheez-Its are not enough Cheez-Its. I gotta buy the whole damn row of Cheez-Its. So I swipe my card again, and as I'm doing that, I notice, out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody with binoculars watching me buy Cheez-Its. And I'm thinking, why would somebody have binoculars in a hospital watching me buy Cheez-Its? And then I realize, He must be with the Cheez-It Corporation. He's trying to keep track of how many Cheez-Its a single person can buy. And I'm thinking maybe I'm going to win some kind of contest, because I'm buying all these Cheez-Its. So I start swiping my card really slow so he can get all my information, because I want to make sure he can track me down to give me my Cheez-It reward, So then I buy like 7 bags of Cheez-Its, and then I walk over to the guy, because my curiosity is getting the best of me. I'm like, hey, I see you, and then the guy hides his binoculars, and then I'm like, no, I already caught you. I know you're with the Cheez-It Corporation. And then he's like, no, sir, I'm not with the Cheez-It Corporation. And I'm like, no, I saw your binoculars. I already got you. And then I see in front of him, he has a piece of paper with a bunch of numbers on it. And it looks kind of like a credit card number, but then I realize that must be all the Cheez-Its I bought in my lifetime. I'm definitely winning this contest. So I give the guy my name and my home address and my social security number, all the information he needs, because I also want to make sure that I can write this off as a gift on my taxes when I get all my Cheez-Its. So he's so happy. He's so happy to have all this information. So I'm like, I definitely won this contest. So I go back home to my wife and I'm like, honey, Cheesy Wonka is going to give me the Cheez-It factory. I'm going to be a Cheez-It king. She doesn't believe me. She thinks I'm crazy. And I'm like, honey, you just watch. This is going to be awesome. So I sit back and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. And then my phone starts ringing. And it's my credit card company. And they said that my credit cards are all maxed out. And then my bank calls and said they're repossessing my house and my credit is ruined. Because it turns out there was no Cheesy Wonka, and that guy did not work for the Cheez-It company. He was a credit card scammer, and he stole my identity and all of my money. So now, whenever I see somebody with binoculars, I just start throwing haymakers. Like one time, I was in the park and I saw these old ladies with binoculars, and then I started throwing haymakers. And yeah, it turns out they were bird watching, but still, I don't think you understand. Let me explain in great detail exactly how hard it would be for you to get there and exactly where he is with this pretty little animation. So, Jeffy is handcuffed, put in a straitjacket, tied up with ropes and chains with a blindfold on, and his mouth is duct taped. And then he's put in a coffin, which is also chained up in a biometric heat-sensitive chamber where the oxygen levels will drop so low that it keeps him alive, but his muscles are not oxygenated enough to move. Then, that chamber is dropped into a safe with plasma lasers, pressure plates, and landmines, so if he got out, the lasers would cut him into pieces like a lightsaber, and the mines would blow him up. Then, that safe is put on top of a castle in the highest room of the tallest tower like in Shrek, and the castle is guarded by a dragon that f***s donkeys. That castle is then dropped into the bottom of the Marianas Trench, which is the deepest place known to man, and the castle is then surrounded by great white megalodon sharks with laser beams and heat-seeking rocket launchers on their heads. Then above the sharks is a giant squid that's been trained specifically to eat Jeffy, so even if he got past all the rest of that, he'd have to get past the squid. And then above the squid is James Cameron in a submarine with an IMAX camera filming the whole thing, so if Jeffy escapes, James Cameron can let us know and make a sick-ass movie out of it. And then above him is a military submarine with a nuclear torpedo pointed at him, so if Jeffy gets past James Cameron, they'll blow him up. And then above that is 3 aircraft carriers carrying F-22 Raptors, which are the coolest fucking jets ever, in my opinion.
Are you serious?
Oh, I am very serious. It can go up to 1,500 miles per hour. That means it could fly